It's Jack from Cultaholic.com. I am back from my bloody lovely holiday on the bus to the zoo, and do you know what? I can't do that all the way through. I'm doing the man a great discredit. Unfortunately, Jack is on his holiday this week. We miss you, Jack. Come back soon. So it's me and thee as we count down some of the best wrestlers on the planet this week. This is Wrestlers of the Week. That's more my style. Now, Jack the Jobber obviously is not here this week, but Wrestler of the Week is very much his countdown, and I can't do it the justice that Jack does it. So the words you're going to hear are the opinions and thoughts of Jack, but just pushed out through my face, just so we know. Honourable mentions this week go to Ryo and Emi Sakura for their amazing match at Full Gear. They absolutely tore it down, and you could see how much that match meant to them as well. Also, big love to Mia Yim, who took an absolute battering in that ladder match at NXT, got her nose bust open. It's also come out that she may have potentially suffered some rib injuries from that as a result too. Just unreal performance. Ilya Dragunov getting a big mention. Ilya Dragunov, WWE NXT UK guy who had a phenomenal match in WXW, which is kind of what he does. He's a great match machine in Dub X Dub. And of course, an honourable mention goes to Scorpio Sky. This week, picking up a pinfall victory over Chris Jericho. The first pinfall loss for Chris Jericho since beginning his time at AEW. This is no doubt going to put Scorpio Sky in the mix somewhere. Don't be surprised if he pops up on this top 10 again very, very soon. At number 10, it's Sho, who usually you can see as part of Roppongi 3K. Not averse to getting amongst it in singles action as well. Put on a great performance in the Best of Super Juniors this year. Last week, Sho and Yo won themselves the New Japan Junior Tag League. A great accomplishment, only spoiled by running afoul of the Bullet Club in the process. This week, he was in San Jose for NJPW Showdown. An amazing performance again against El Phantasmo for the Rev Pro British Cruiserweight title, but he came up short. Now, even though he came up short in that match, he's had a phenomenal run, has Sho, in 2019. Sam's always said that Sho is very much like the Shawn Michaels of the tag team, whereas Yo is more like the Marty Jannetty. Sam pretty much got that nailed on the head. Jack thought it was the other way around, and sorry, Jack, you're kind of wrong on that one. At 9, it's David Starr. Another week and another standout performance for David Starr in a European promotion. Whilst Ireland is still reeling from that David Starr-Jordan Devlin match, David Starr took on Ilya Dragunov in WXW and won himself a shot at Timothy Thatcher. And it looks like now David Starr is about to position himself into a strong position in WXW. Do not be surprised if the belt goes on him very soon. David Starr has been making headlines inside the ring for his incredible performance and outside the ring for his very outspoken opinions on wrestling as well. A very deserved top 10 contender once again this week on Wrestler of the Week. And you know what? It doesn't even matter if David Starr doesn't win against Thatcher, because if we learned anything from David Starr's rivalry with Volta, he's almost bigger in defeat than he is in victory. So however the match pans out when David Starr and Timothy Thatcher go one-on-one, it's going to be a game changer for WXW. At 8, it's Jordy Pack. A great showing at AEW's Full Gear, taking on Hangman Page. You very rarely see Pack pick up the L's as opposed to the W's, but he did at Full Gear. He won a match back on Dynamite this past week, sort of bringing into question that 50-50 booking that WWE constantly gets reamed for. Whether or not we're seeing it again here, regardless of wins and regardless of losses, Pac is a firm contender in AEW. He is making an impact in the ring every time he is in there. So Pac remains a great all-rounder in AEW, but at number 7, it's the guy that got the W over him at Full Gear. It's Hangman Adam Page, picking up 4 points after that incredible encounter with Pac at Full Gear. That brainbuster onto the chair made made pretty much everybody cringe a little bit. It was a phenomenal performance, though. Great to see Hangman Page in the main event of Dynamite this past week as well. Didn't look too happy about bringing out all that barbed wire stuff, though. Really doesn't feel like that's his wheelhouse. At 6, it's ELP, El Phantasmo, who put on an incredible performance, defending his Rev Pro British Cruiserweight Championship in San Jose as part of NJPW Showdown. Great match against Show. I definitely want to see those two mix it up again. Phantasmo's really making a name for himself as the obnoxious brat of New Japan. We are just chomping at the bit to see somebody give him his just desserts. Will we see maybe Show finally shut up El Phantasmo at Wrestle Kingdom? Or there is the prospect in the air of one match against Jushin Thunder Liger. Liger's wrapping it up at Wrestle Kingdom, and he wants to go out wrestling somebody that he hasn't wrestled before. Liger and El Phantasmo. Now that would be the way to say farewell to Liger and shut up Phantasmo. Regardless of his attitude, he continues to be a great performer, and that is why he is number 6 on our top 10 this week. At number 5, it's Cody Rhodes, who's had himself a bit of a nightmare week, pun intended. That dive out of the ring at Full Gear cut his head wide open. He then went on to lose the AEW Championship match to Chris Jericho, meaning he can never ever challenge for that championship again. And on top of that, we see MJF turn his back on Cody. Now, Cody tried to get himself a modicum of revenge, only to be cut off by the debuting Wardlow. And I'm genuinely gutted that Jack isn't here to talk to you about Wardlow. Jack has been waiting forever for Wardlow to debut in AEW, and it's the week he's away. Wardlow, that is bad of you. I don't think you'll ever make the top 10 for that. I'm kidding. You'll probably be number 1 next week. Despite losing the match, he won himself a fair few points here in our top 10, putting on an incredible match with Jericho and having a phenomenal finish to it as well. Just being trapped in that walls of Jericho and having the towel thrown in. It was just nail-biting stuff. Now, the match wasn't as good as the match that Cody had with his brother Dustin, but hey, that match was incredible. So there's no shame in this being just a couple of rungs under. At 4, it's Io Shirai, who has been a standout in NXT for the last couple of weeks and put on an incredible showing in the main event ladder match this past Wednesday against Mia Yim. Despite the fact that Mia Yim got hurt during that match, it didn't slow the match down really in any way, shape or form. Mia Yim and Io Shirai had some really strong chemistry together. Io Shirai picking up the big win for Team Baszler going into War Games. Io Shirai definitely has a lot of upside as it comes to NXT and beyond it as well. There's been talk at time of recording that Stardom would like to offer Io Shirai a job to come work for them once her WWE contract runs out. Now, if WWE have any sense, they are going to do everything to keep Io Shirai placated in WWE. I don't think they would ever dream of losing Io Shirai to Stardom, but you know what? It says something about where you are positioned in the industry when all these other places are calling to have you there. And NXT is very lucky to have Io Shirai, and we are very happy to rate her so high in our top 10 this week. At 3, it is Le Champion, the AEW heavyweight champ, Chris Jericho. Another week of standout performances for the most despicable yet the most entertaining part of AEW, in my opinion. An amazing match against Cody at Full Gear. That lion tamer looked like it snapped Cody in half at the end. We see him during that match as well, pulling out every trick in the book. He was giving some grief to Mama Rhodes. He was giving some grief to Dean Malenko. Oh, and then on Wednesday, not only did he have an amazing promo with MJF, but then he picked up his first pinfall to Scorpio Sky in another cracking match. A great showing for Chris Jericho once again this week. It shows you something about Chris Jericho, the fact that despite picking up a very high-profile defeat this week, he can still rate so high in our top 10. At 2, it's Kenny Omega. Now, this one has divided people quite a lot because the lights-out match at Full Gear, some people said wasn't any good at all, went too far and was just too disgusting. People like Dave Meltzer weren't a fan of this. Jack, however, was a fan of this. So Jack's giving it the points because this is Jack's list after all. So if you've ever accused Jack of being a tiny Dave Meltzer, you are incredibly wrong. Now, Omega didn't win this match, but what we learned in this is that he puts in just as much effort into a lights-out deathmatch style environment than he does in a New Japan Match of the Year contender. Some people found the lights out match a bit too gruesome. However, some fans said it wasn't gruesome enough. You can't please everybody. Regardless, it brought us some incredible moments. That bed of barbed wire that was pulled out, that V-trigger that went through the set was incredible. That Phoenix splash that missed and just crashed into the exposed ring. Oh, it was edge of your seat stuff, whether you were enjoying being on the edge of your seat or not. So the loser of that lights out match is in at number 2. So there is no surprises when I tell you that number 1 this week is the winner of that match. The number 1 position goes to Jon Moxley. What a performance by Moxley in that match alongside Kenny Omega. Jon Moxley, in the run-up to arriving at AEW, spoke out about how he felt like he insulted the intelligence of the fans, how he felt like he lied to the fans in WWE when he said he would commit all kinds of carnage and destruction, yet really didn't do anything to the level that he's capable of. This was real, honest, gruesome, back to basics Jon Moxley, who just ripped Kenny Omega apart in this match. We saw a dark side of Jon Moxley, and as we said with Kenny Omega, while some people weren't massive fan of it, a lot of other people have now got eyes on Moxley, which is why, as Jack was a massive fan of the lights out match, and from what it's worth, I thought it was brilliant too, that is why Jon Moxley is number 1 this week. What is next for Jon Moxley, though? Maybe now he goes for the AEW Championship. He has been challenged by Darby Allin for next week, and no doubt those two will have an opportunity to really make a match of the night contender between those two. Well done, Jon Moxley. You're number 1, baby. So here's your league table update as it stands. No change until we get to 7th place, where Pack has drawn level with Jay White, who is on 58 points. David Starr joins Kofi Kingston, Adam Cole, and Ricochet in 10th. Jon Moxley is up to 14th, a rapid rise, considering he picked up 0 points until signing with AEW midway through the year. And Kenny Omega and El Phantasmo make progress too. They are up into 16th and 21st, respectively. So that'll do it for your countdown this week. Jack is back next week. So this is just a one-off from me, I promise. Trust me, when you're looking at wrestlers across the world and seeing who has done what this week, you're in excellent hands with Jack, and he'll be back to do this properly at this time next week. Love you, bye. Hey, thanks for watching. Don't forget to leave a comment in the comment section down below. You can support us on Patreon by going to patreon.com/Cultaholic. Lastly, don't forget to hit subscribe and join us.